Okay, everyone, I want to thank you for joining Language Project Week 7. Excuse us on the delay there. We had some spammers earlier and we had to take a different direction, but it also helped us get some ideas together at the same time. We have Darren, we have Ken, and we have Stefan here joining us tonight. And Darren's going to be showing us some of the work that he's done with the sprites. He's got them going pretty good here. So Darren, if you want to just take over and now get your screen up here.
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I guess I should just run this first so we can see what's going on. Basically, I took the 1.3 version of the project that we had going, and I started sort of separating things out a little bit to get the main file down because it was pretty cluttered and I was getting lost in it. But here you'll see that I've got the idle animation working on the guy when he's just sitting there, and he will walk left and right. So what I had to do, or what I ended up doing is, like I said, I pulled a bunch of that stuff out. So you'll see some extra includes. But in the main loop here, we are updating the timers. And that is just basically our frame counter. We're reading the joystick, and that sets a variable telling us which direction the player is going. We then use that variable to actually move the player sprite in that direction. And then here's what we were struggling with last week that I ended up breaking up into two sections. The sections that I have here are update the player sprite direction, and then is that based on that variable of the direction, looking at it, which set of sprites to use idle animation, to use the walk left or the walk right. And then separate from that, there is the sort of the tick or the index of which frame of the animation that we're on. And I've got a separate routine that updates those. So if we look at it, let's just look at update player sprite direction. Oh, of course, start out with a little wrinkle here. I noticed a bug where if the sprite had recently changed direction, we need to detect that so that we can reset the index of the animation frame back to 0 so that it basically starts over. So I added another set of variables to check to see what the previous direction was from the current direction, just so that we know when it changes. Then we are going to work with sprite 0. So we're going to look at sprite 0, sprite direction. If it is a negative number, that means we're walking left. If it's 0, that's our idle animation. And if it's not negative or 0, any other positive value, then we are walking right. So it will, let's just take a look at idle here. What it does is it, idle animation starts at 28. So this actually sets the pointers for those sprite graphics to be associated with sprite 0, and then the overlay is sprite 1. You'll see here that our idle animation has 4 frames of animation. So we need to set the max frames before for when we're in the idle animation. That would be different than, say, when we're walking left, we've got 7 frames of animation. So we've got the max frame set to 7, and we've got a different starting point for where our animation starts in the graphics file. Hopefully that makes sense. And then the other bit of that is just keeping track of, look at that timer, our frame count. If it's, the appropriate mask here, then we will update our animation counter, our index. We do that on both of them. We check to make sure that it hasn't exceeded our max frame, and then we reset it. So like I was saying, I had to separate these because we were getting so confused last week. Sig was doing this considerably differently. He was directly increasing that sprite pointer memory address, and then he would check to see if it was gone past the last animation he expected to be in that set of animations. It was a little bit hard coded, I guess, and it was very specific to that graphic file that we were working with. So when we changed it, we were having all kinds of problems with it, right? So I just wanted to pull that out, get a better look at it, so that we could better understand it and control it, a little bit. Now I think that we understand it. I don't know. I would like to talk to Sig. There might be good reasons why he was doing it the way he was. This is probably a little more complex than it needs to be. And I think has a couple extra variables that we might not need. So I think it could be rewritten, but it's working now, I guess, as is. So maybe next week I'll take a look at rewriting it back to more of the style that Sig was using.
I mean, the whole idea, as I mentioned earlier, is just, getting it to work, and just we're in test phases anyway. We're just learning,
The other thing I don't know if you noticed there is I added some characters to the screen for what
ladder,
I guess. The idea here is that whenever we want to do our up and down, we want to check the character behind the player to see that it is a valid tile that would allow movement in the up and down direction. Those tiles would be rope tiles or ladder tiles.
Okay. So I guess that was probably where we could focus on tonight. Does that sound good? Like working on the up movement and stuff like that. I mean, we got the up movement, but like when he hits a ladder, like don't let him go left or right.
Well, he still needs to be able to go left and right at a ladder, but he can also go up or down possibly if there is, because you'll need to check above and below him too, right? Because you'll need to say he can go up but not down until he goes up a little bit.
I have to look at the original again, so I guess he can go left and right when he's on a ladder then.
Sure, you can move off the ladder at any time or the rope at any time.
So I guess when we use the ladders, when we're going to hit the gravity and apply gravity and stuff like that.
Yeah, so then once you start doing up and down, then you probably want to start thinking about constantly increasing Y to sort of simulate falling with gravity.
Mm-hmm. So what did you want to do tonight?
I don't know, Steve. I'm sorry, man. I'm pretty tired.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, is it okay to kind of work on the gravity then?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, man. Whatever you.
Is that going too far out of range of where we are right now? Because I think we got the sprites going pretty well. Or do you want to?
Sprites are going well. We can look at some of the background stuff for the blocking, the collision, and hand move for up down. If we do that, then the animation there's a little bit different too, because there's only 2 frames of animation, and then like I said, we've got this whole then that starts getting into gravity too, because if you get them up here, you kind of want them to fall off if he walks off the edge of a platform. Once you get.
So technically, we need to check the area around the sprite then.
Yeah, I think you'll need to check behind him. What level he's on. The one immediately above and below him too, probably. I think that the existing routine can move left and can move right, so I think it'll be pretty similar to what he's already got in there.
I mean, that sounds like somewhere to go.
Routines. Yeah, where he's checking blocked right or blocked left. Block.
He's got can move down, can move left, can move right, can move up. Oh, test blocking. Is that it?
Well,
test blocking?
So if it's blocking, he's just looking to see, is the character back behind the sprite somewhere? Is it greater than 128? If it is, then it's blocked because that is a character that is a wall or something like that. We'll have to be a little smarter about it, right? We can't just check if it's greater than 128. We need to figure out what characters we're going to use for ropes and ladders, and specifically for those characters, right?
That's the complicated part. Because
that's the different part from what he's doing, right? He's just checking to see, is it greater than 128, and if so, then it's blocked or not blocked.
So I don't understand. What's this load one? Is this just a flag?
Let's see here.
Remind me to zoom out so I don't lose this thing again when I'm done switching to another routine. It's got reloaded return code of 0 in return.
One means it's blocked from moving in that direction, and 0 means not.
There you go.
Yeah. So it's very simple, on and off.
Mm-hmm.
But we still don't know. I mean, that's kind of down the line, checking for the characters and all that. But what I was hoping to be able to do is, if we have gravity, for example, and how do we detect when he hits the floor? That's what I don't understand.
It's already doing that.
So, if you want, do you want to show me how you would do it?
How I would do it, I would just have a routine called gravity, and I would constantly be updating adding 1 to the Y of the character sprites. I would just be trying to move the sprite. The sprite movement checks if it's blocked or not.
So you're saying if we move the sprite, it should check it? Oh,
yeah.
I knew I was going to forget. I have to restart again. Oops, I opened up the wrong one. I was trying to open up yours, though, because I opened up his earlier. Okay, so we're back. So somewhere in the main routine, we're going to put in check gravity. Like in here?
Yeah, in the main loop.
Okay.
Actually, you could probably put it in.
I don't know if it's going to matter where we put it.
It's not even checking gravity. It's like applying gravity.
Applying gravity, that sounds like a better word. And let's see. Update player animation frame in order. Right after this.
Well, but I guess you kind of want to have a falling animation too, though, right? So we may need to keep track of the mode that the player is in. Whether they're walking, whether they're climbing, whether they're falling, whether they're jumping.
That makes sense.
But if you just want to see that how you could apply gravity.
Yeah, that's what I want to do for now.
What you need to do is.
Are we going to jump to the moves?
Just try to move them down.
Sprite down. Just jump to that and save some time. Wonder what'll happen. What do you think, Don?
You want to check first, can it move down? And then if it can, then move the sprite down.
In the sprite direction, or?
I think that there's just a routine called can move down or something like that, or let me look. Splunk sprite routines.
I didn't see it in the Splunk.
Yeah, so he's got test up or test down, I guess. Test up, down, can move down. So go back to your applied gravity. You'll do a LDX 0 and then a JSR to can move down.
LDX.
Yeah, that's so that we check the 0 sprite. And then you JSR to can move down. And then that will return 0 if he can't move down, or basically anything else if he can. So you'll go JSR can move down. It's all one word, camel case, can move down.
I was just copying it on the other screen.
Okay.
That way I don't have to, if I zoom in and out, I don't lose my stuff again.
Yeah.
I zoom in out on the other one instead.
Then the next thing you'll do is a branch not equal to a skip.
Under here?
Right.
Here?
Yep. So if it's just do a not equal.
Oh, branch not equal.
Right. It's not 0. All right. Then you want to skip.
0. Then
skip
over.
Yeah, just say skip. Else you can move it down, and you've got X in your 0 or 0 in your X register. You'll need to increase the X register and then call move sprite down again to move the overlay down.
That part I didn't get. So if we're incrementing the X, it's affecting that can move.
Don't do it there though. So
Down?
After your
after the can move down?
After the branch, set the X right there, right before you call the subroutine to move it.
Well, you probably should set it to 0 there as well. I don't know if I think it's okay not to though. I think the X register stays, but I'm saying that after move sprite down, set it to 1 and then call move sprite down again. And don't do a jump, do a JSR. So not at that line. On line 296, hit a return, give yourself a new line there underneath that, above skip though.
Above skip?
Yeah. There you go. LDX dollars or $1 JSR move sprite down, and that'll move the overlay down along with the other one. And above that on line 295, you don't want to do a jump to the routine.
Yeah, I was like, why are we doing that?
JSR there.
So that sprite position Y delta is controlling the sprite's Y position.
Yeah, you need to type JSR move sprite down there. So we're calling move sprite down twice because we have 2 sprites, both one laid on top of one another.
Okay, I was trying to figure that part out. Okay.
So when we have X as 0, that's the 0 sprite that's moving. When we have X as 1, that's the 1 sprite that's moving.
Because of that table. I see.
That's the way that all of his routines work, kind of, is the sprite routines are for all 8 sprites, and you pick
Right.
which sprite you're applying it to by. You would need to look at the routine called
Oh,
move.
the move sprite down. Okay, I'm looking at the wrong one. Then. Okay, so be in the sprite routines. Okay, let me just take a look here. Okay, I'll just put it back over there for a second. So we're basically altering this right here, the sprite position. Okay, that means we're moving the sprite here.
Look at the comment on line 153. It says X equals the number of the hardware sprite to move.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And this is for 8 sprites, right? That makes sense. Okay. So I guess we could test it then.
Yeah. Go for it.
Right, so? Well, apparently it must be working because I can't move up or down. Now we just have to position him. Wonder if I walked over here. Nope, I can't walk over there. So yeah, we're gonna put a hole in the floor or just position the sprite or something. So how do we move him?
Line 67. There you go. Those are the X and Y coordinates in characters. On 67 and 69. But he's starting at an X of 3 and a Y of 17 now. So bring the Y, start him at 0, 0, and you'll see him drop down or 3, 0 or something like that. You only need to change line 69 to be something less than 17. You don't need to copy that. You just need to change that value.
So this is like saying the position in the sprite. I see what you're saying now. Okay. Wait,
This is the code that is positioning the player initially on the screen. Initially, he is set at these coordinates. So if you change it to the Y to be something that is not right up against the floor, you should see him drop down to the floor.
I get it.
Around the floor.
What happens? Well, Siggy's giving us a really nice shell.
Yeah.
I had no idea all this stuff was in there. There he goes. Perfect. So let's push this name by the. I mean, I assume he's going to hit the ledge either way. So then we could kind of see the gravity. That probably wouldn't be hard either.
Yeah, you can just adjust his X over until he hits that upper platform, I guess.
Kind of like we just did.
Make line 67 instead of 3, make it be something like 10.
Hold on.
On line 67, yeah.
Oh, so we move his X over.
Yeah, just move him, yeah, like 10 or so. That looks, there's 40 characters across. Maybe it's closer to 15 or 20.
Mm-hmm. And then we'll create a new one
Create a new what?
for the jump. Or does he already have that too?
No, there's no jump.
Okay, so we'll probably need to put it obviously in the joystick routine because that's when you're going to be pressing the button, jump in. It's not like he's going to be jumping until you press the button.
Well, yeah.
Anyway.
I think we'll need to have some sort of mode for the character to get into. We can keep track of if he's jumping or walking or climbing or falling.
Yep. Oh, what happened? I changed it to 10. Let's see. Go to some of these other windows.
Oh, that's way too big. I was thinking 15.
Think it's too big? You got a missed bunch.
Somewhere 15 to 20 is what I was thinking. After realizing there were 40 characters across the screen. Oops, somewhere in the middle.
There you go. Oop, you missed it. The ladder doesn't have a collision, right?
Make it 17. Step away for a minute. I'll be right back.
So here's where the buttons are being pressed. So button press is set to 1 while the button is held down. This must be the one right here. He's got the whole thing, like we have the JSR, the button, and somewhere in here we're going to be changing it, and the button pressed versus not pressed. And right here's where we're going to change the jump in part.
I'm back.
Okay, so I found it. It's in the Splunk joystick routines where the jump in would be at. It's under the joy button. That's where he put all the button press section in.
Right. He sets a variable. You don't want to change this. He sets a variable. You just want to check that variable. You don't want to touch this routine.
So we don't need to add anything to this. Can we still call the button from here though?
You can check if it's pressed.
Okay, so I guess I'm going to understand. So the JSR button, we can compare the value that's being passed out of there each time.
It sets that. See that button pressed? That's a variable that you can read at any time to see if the button's pressed after calling the joy button. After, you want to update it every frame, I guess.
And for one, I guess. I'm just still getting used to what he's done. So like you had more time with it. Between formatting a computer, I've been pretty busy.
I guess.
All right, so where was that at again?
So I guess if he's jumping or climbing, you don't really want to apply gravity. You want to do something different. Right? So that's why I think we need like a player.
You need to think about that for a minute. That's a good point. So we need to probably put it inside of applying gravity then, but
No. You would decide out. So you would, because you want. I mean, jump has got an upward trajectory and a downward trajectory, right? So with jumping, you want the guy to jump until he hits the top of his arc, right? Or you release the button early, and then he does a short jump. So jump is going to be a little more complicated to control anyway. I'm surprised you want to do that one before you want to do climb and down.
Yeah, you're going to need something like a lookup table that gives you different Y offsets over time. So, it starts and it ends, in bigger increments, and then there's hang time at the top of the trajectory.
Yeah.
So, you get a couple of zeros there at the top. Then you got to consider, are you going to allow things like double jump?
Definitely want to double jump. Want to improve that.
Yeah, of course.
It was probably single jump when it was written, yeah, but I mean, Mario has changed the world, so everybody expects.
Exactly.
We could make a bigger jump.
No, you want it to control like Mario. I mean, that's kind of what the expectation is now.
So what I did originally when I designed an Atari game, I did do the jumping routine, and I just made it, if you press the button, he goes up. Let go of the button, he falls down. We've already got that part. So that's why I thought it wouldn't be that hard to do.
Well, it looks like if it's a continuous or if it's the same increment, it looks like they're floating up and then they're floating down.
Yeah.
It doesn't really look like gravity.
I see what you're saying. Well, we already got the gravity in here, though, don't we?
This is more of a falling gravity, constant.
Yeah.
There's no acceleration in this gravity. Right,
I'm not a physics person. That would be up to the physics. I just
you fall, you reach terminal velocity, right? So technically, he should be moving slower. At the beginning of his fall, he should reach a terminal velocity. He should speed up to terminal velocity.
Yeah, that makes sense. An object increases gravity as it falls from a higher height.
We're not doing that, right? We're just very simply
making it simple. Yeah, I was hoping we could get some jump in, but we could do the up movement since this one's probably going to be a little bit more involved. At least we got the gravity in there. I thought he had already put that in there somewhere, but I only looked at I was only playing with the moving left to right move. That's all I was doing this week. So we'll go back to
literally all I got going was the sprite overlays and the walk left, right, and idle land. Then I thought, well, the next thing would be try to do the climb, because I was looking a little bit at his collision routines and saw that he already had routines in there to check the characters behind the sprite, see what its value is. All right, so we check the value behind the sprite. Is it a rope? Is it a ladder? Then move up would be allowed. Right? If the square character below him is a ladder or a rope, then down is allowed. Exactly.
So all we need to do is check for the ladder then.
Yeah, so we need to just make it a little bit differently, because his check for the walls is just seeing is the character back there, is its value greater than 127.
Got it.
It blocks. If not, then you're okay to move. For us, we need to say you're only okay to move if it's a couple of characters that we choose for ropes and ladders. So I had just kind of picked that one. You can go through the characters and look at them. That was the most rope-like one I could find. I guess there is just a vertical bar. We could have used that one. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we can always come across that. But the idea was getting just the actions going instead of really worrying about, what this graphic looks like. We can always come into that later.
Sure.
The whole idea is getting everything working on a lower level and then moving up to what it's going to look like, what the title screen is going to look like, all that stuff should come last.
Yeah, so I just picked that checkerboard one there as a rope. I don't even remember what number it is. You have to open up the character that value is to check for.
I see. So I'm kind of looking at some of his stuff over here on the collision routines. Obviously, you had more time to digest it than I have. So can move up. And move up. Sprite you can move up is going to be stopped by a blocking character. Sprite going to check for a returns. Accumulator we can move one and we are blocked. But he's only got it checking for a block. He's not actually checking, like you said, the actual character.
Right. So we'll have to get a little more detailed than what he's doing. Basically.
Mm-hmm. We have to make it somehow look underneath the character.
Well, he's looking a couple of spots. I mean, he's looking left, right. He's actually looking up and down already. Mm-hmm. So he's got those routines in there. That get right there. He's fetching so every time the sprite update, this X and Y character position gets updated as well. So each sprite has got a variable that holds its X and Y character position. So you can just look up based on those variables, you can look up directly what is the character behind it using the screen offset table.
Sorry, my computer came on here. I was trying to hear what you were saying. It's like the fan came on.
I mean, this is what he's doing right here with the screen offset tables.
Let me grab my volume again. I keep playing with the volume up and down here.
Yeah, he's got some extra things in there with the trim and I think what he's trying to do there is to get it to the center of the sprite with those trim values. He's trying to, he's trying to more precisely select the center of the sprite. I had to adjust those trim values somewhere in here.
Oh, is that why you commented? Did you comment these out? Or did he?
I don't think I touched any of the can move or check up. I don't think I touched any of these.
Gotcha.
The ones that I changed have Spelunk in front of the file name.
Okay.
Oh, you're not even looking at you're looking at his project anyway. You're not,
yeah, so. I'm looking at his just because if I go in here, because I zoom in and jump out again. So if you didn't change it, it should be the same.
Yeah, no, I didn't change it.
Okay. Because I don't want to keep shutting the project down every time I zoom in and out. I need more time to digest what he's doing here. So we can JSR to can move up. And then we can check the values inside of here, but I still don't think we're going to be able to check for a ladder, though. We'd have to somehow implement this.
Well, you want to always return blocked and ladder there.
Say that again?
You always want to return. So if you move up, you want it to always return blocked unless there is a ladder or a rope.
I guess I'm confused because this one isn't checking it's just checking anything he bumps into, right?
Yeah, it's looking to see if the character behind him is less than 127.
This one sounds like it's going to be a little bit more involved. We might just want to work on the animation or something. Gravity in there, so the up movement isn't going to work right now, or because he's not going to be able to move up until we test for the moving ladder anyway, or the ladder.
I think we need a player mode, and you wouldn't apply the gravity the same way if he was climbing.
Yeah, so we need to basically make it say if he's not touching the ladder, then he's falling. Otherwise, he's going up. But this is out of my range for now. What's that noise?
We don't have spammers again, do we?
All right. Oh, no. I've been watching that very carefully. So I think we've lucked out on that. I just don't understand like where we would check the character. That sounds like it's going to be another entire different routine or something.
He's doing it already. I mean, that he's floating the look at test blocking. So I think before he's calling test blocking, he's basically loading the 0 page with the
right here
that he wants to test. Yeah.
So you're saying we could put it in here or something?
Well, I mean, we want to.
I'm trying not to add too much to his code. You know what I mean?
Right. So I never change his code. Right. So I was if I am going to change his code, I'm just going to I'm going to make a new file, a new routine, and just take the bits out of his code that I'm going to borrow and move it over. But what I'm saying here is that I believe if you look at what he's doing, is he is grabbing the character behind the sprite, and then he's calling this test blocking, and then test blocking is basically his routine that we need to target, I guess, or come up with our own variant of, because we can't use this one. This one is okay for the left and right, so you don't want to change this one. Right? I think you need to do something different. I think this is fine for left right, so I don't think you want to mess with it.
We don't want to break anything.
Well, but in your up down, you want to test it. You know, your test blocking is different because everything's blocked unless it's a rope or a ladder. Whereas here, everything's blocked unless it's under 128. So rather than test blocking, you want test ladder or rope or.
And we're going to need to create another file for it. Is that what you always do?
I had been, yeah.
Okay.
But you want to be able to call it from. You may not be able to do that.
We just have to include it in or something.
Well, go back there because I think. What was that? Was that a collision routines? No, he's doing a JSR to it. Yeah, so you could make another file.
Yeah, right here. And down blocked. I see.
But you're still going to have to change this because you don't want it to call test block and you want it to call.
Right.
this point, I would make Spelunk collision routines. I'm kind of losing steam here, Steve. I'm sorry. Fall asleep.
Collision's two L's, right? So we need a new name, test blocking, test ladder.
Is ladder.
Sounds good to me. But what is the character for that?
I don't know. You have to open up the character set there. There's the.
Is that in the name?
It's right there in the Project Explorer under the character sets.
Oh, it probably won't hurt us to do it here then. I can hear you. I can't hear you very well.
There's a checkbox up at the top there where it says show uppercase and reverse. Uncheck reverse.
I was like, what's going on here? I'm not seeing anything. Okay.
I think it's
this one.
There it is.
That's it. So it's just the AXI character on the keyboard that you used.
So if it's a rope, it'll be equal to 127.
So I'm trying to look at what he did. He did like that.
Yeah. You know, actually, I think I might have used 127 so that we could use his routine.
I didn't get all that.
I think I might have used that character so that we could use his routine. Let's go back and look at his routine.
His is right here. I left it over here.
Well, I mean, go back to in our project.
In the collision routine.
Go down to the block. That's blocking.
I think I understand now. So 128 is the wall. 127, we would just store 1 or 0. It's kind of upon ours, right?
We don't want to block that. We want to.
It wouldn't be called blocking, obviously, but.
Could call it blocking, and everything's blocked unless in that direction everything's blocked unless it's a rope or a ladder.
Yeah, because we're not touching it. I guess we could use the same. I mean, his logic makes sense.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm tired, Steve. I would need to plan this out a little bit better than just doing it off of the top of my head here in the state that I'm in right now. I'm not able to program off the top of my head right now. I apologize.
No, it's all good. I mean, it's all trial and error, you know.
I'm getting tired. I was already tired. I'm about to fall asleep.
Oh, I don't want to keep you guys up, but let's just at least add it and see what happens, and then we can just kind of just go from there. I mean, we got this far, right?
Sure.
All right, and then we can just have it a go and call it a night. What did we call it? Collision. You have to excuse me. I'm so used to the nights. I work nights and morning shifts, so I just adapt. I only sleep 4 hours a night, so I'm just that kind of person. I copied like, wait. I was just going to copy his code to make it faster. Of course, I lost the file again. Like that. And then we can just go to test ladder. Yes, we have to like check if he's going up and down. So we have to test this in the up and down movement. Pretty much.
Yeah, that's not right though. You want to, if it's equal to 127, then it's not blocked. So what do you got there? You're comparing to 127, and what's that? What BMI? Is that right? What does that say?
BPL, branch plus. So it'll check it. If it's 128, it's going to go to blocking.
You want to block always unless it's 127. So I think you want to branch of equal. Actually, you want to branch of not equal that it's blocked. Yeah, that's right.
And then somewhere here, we got to throw the test JSR in here.
Right. So in the can move up somewhere, it was calling
Core routine.
Blocked. So now instead of calling this blocked further up, you want to call this.
But without changing his code again.
Well, you're gonna have to change that bit.
Maybe we could just like put little stars next to what we changed or something. So when you think about it, he's going to go ahead and change everything anyway. A lot of it. Like when we went from the first one to this.
You could, if you don't want to change his, you can copy his into some other file and change it there.
Yeah, that's what I don't like doing. Okay, I got all his code right here. I don't know what we're going to call this one. I'm trying to think. Movement.
Well, you just want to override his move up, right?
But it's going to be move up and down. So
his was called can move up. That's the routine you want to replace. That's the only thing you really want to modify at this point. And really all you want to do is anywhere he's calling the test blocking, you want to call your routine instead of that one.
Hmm?
So you're really just going to comment out his call to his test block and replace it with this test ladder instead.
Oh, I was just trying to figure out a name for it. I only copied a little bit. I copied the up and the down routine. So I have to rename some stuff. So, not to hold you up, but real quick, when you use a label, did you put like you kept the name, right? But then after this, like how did you reuse them?
No, I didn't change the label names.
Because we can't reuse the same names. They're already in the project.
If I replaced one of his files, I replaced it completely.
Oh boy.
I kept the label names. I didn't change any of the label names.
I see. So if we're taking out that routine, then we need to copy the whole thing, is what you're saying, except for the test part.
I think this one's easy enough. It's just one line in one routine. For now, I would just comment it out and put yours in just to see.
Okay. So just go back to his and comment out the can't move up and can't move down. I see.
We already moved most of the logic out into that separate file. The only thing that we're changing in his code is which routine he's calling whenever he does that operation, right? He was calling test blocking in all directions, right? So it was the same routine for left, right, up, and down. You just want to change the up to be this custom test block.
All right. Why did it always disappear every time I go to it? All right.
And that's where I'm thinking that a more elegant solution to this would be to track what mode the character is in. And then we would, outside of any of this, we would be able to determine climbing versus falling versus walking.
Of course. Can't move up and can't move down, so we just need to comment out the right and left then, essentially.
No,
the move up and down, that's right. I had it right earlier. So this is what we're going to be reusing. Can't move up and can't move down. Why is that on? Am I seeing things? Oh, I went too far, didn't I? I copied the right and the left down here again. So can't move down, can't move up.
What are you doing?
I was just commenting out the stuff that we're reusing so we don't have to create it.
I was saying you just needed to comment out line 304. For instance.
And here?
Well, actually, we weren't even looking at down. We were just looking at up. So
304 is test blocking.
Wherever up is. So go to can move up.
Right here. I was doing up and down is what I was doing. Because I copied both of them.
Is line 240. In his can move up routine, that on line 240 is where he calls test blocking. Instead of calling test blocking, you want to call test ladder.
Okay, well, I was getting back to the point we were still modifying his code. I was trying to avoid that. I see what you're doing. You're just modifying that one part.
There's just one line of code in here that you need to change. So rather than go through all of that right now, let's just put it in here and see if it works.
Okay, then we need to get... Well,
because I don't think you want to do it in here at all. I think you want to do it outside of this with a mode.
I mean, you just said that added here, didn't you?
Yeah, so, but what's the second check, though? He calls it again down on line 257, so maybe you need to change it there, too.
Okay.
Okay, so he's changing the character that he's checking, so one check looks like it's...
Sprite, subtract, and fetch sprite x coordinate. Let's see. He's got the y. I think he's checking y and x. This is that's the X coordinate.
So he's checking two. He's checking the check up two is checking above the sprite, right? Because he's subtracting 2 characters from the sprite's current Y position. So he's checking if the sprite is, 20 or so tall, 2 characters high will be 16. Right. So he's checking kind of the head and what's immediately above the head, right? So the check up 2 is moving his check up to Y versus the first one looks like it's checking his feet.
Okay. So you
need to change
counting like that again?
Yeah. See if that lets you move up on a. Well, now you'll have to change your apply gravity too.
We took out the routine for the floor, didn't we? So we can.
So.
Are you saying we're just testing the ladder for now anyway?
Right, but I don't think it's going to let you move up because you got gravity going, which will immediately move you back down as soon as you do try to move up.